listening to the RM Podcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to another episode on a fine Tuesday night of the Red Moon Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
And Jorgen Borgen. John Borgen is joining us. Where's that come from? Where?
It comes from the land far away.
John Borgen?
John Morgan,
He's joining us from what country?
Newfoundlandia.
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 Newfoundlandia. Is that right next to Lamaria?
It's north of Lamaria.
North of Lamaria is Newfoundlandia.
Mhm.
I've never been there.
We give great export. We export ice.
You exported all the way to Iceland?
We give it to Lamaria. They have no ice.
Ah.
They don't
I
know
figure
ice.
you exported to Iceland because Iceland have no ice.
They're all green.
They're all green. Greenland is ice.
Greenland.
Don't you remember that as a kid? You were always
Yes.
like, oh man, Greenland's really the ice one and Iceland's green. That's so weird.
That's so
Why would they
weird.
name it
Why
that
would they
way?
do that?
Because you realize when adults get older,
They're stupid.
they get dumber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Adults
really
are
the-
dumb.
Didn't you realize, like, when you were
I've
a
realized
kid-
that very much in the,
Yeah,
last few
like,
years.
yeah, no, it's like it's
Yeah.
gotten worse though. Like, you know how there's been this trend of like older people we now look younger than like how older people used to look.
Yeah.
But it's like I feel like it's the same way with our brains getting dumber.
Yeah.
It's like I used to look
As a
up to adults
child-
thinking, oh. When I get to be that age, like they're the ones in charge. They know what's
And I'm
going
not
on.
saying like
No, they
as a
don't.
child, I thought
Wisdom.
all
Yeah.
adults had the answers and that all adults were smarter and had wisdom. Now I'm finding that there are people that with wisdom and that are smart, but
It's rare.
the vast majority of adults still don't know crap.
No.
I mean, you know,
Yeah,
They
wis-
just they
we
just
don't have all the
they
answers.
pretend.
yeah.
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 They try to put on an act.
Mhm.
And one of those acts is, well, we figured it out tonight. We could have gave 17 million plus people fresh and clean water
In Africa.
Mhm.
instead of producing the Martian.
Mm.
But what did we do as Americans? No, we produced the Martian.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
A
that's going to be
horrible piece of trash.
our new Matt
Rating
Damon
scale.
scale. Yeah.
We've talked about
We
this for a long
finally figured
time.
it out.
And we
So
finally
Yeah.
crunched the
So-
numbers.
You guys worked hard on that.
What's the last terrible movie we saw? I want to
Oh, Willy's Wonderland.
No.
I mean,
Yeah, but
like,
I mean,
it was
that
entertaining.
wouldn't have bought a lot of water.
yeah.
Well, and it also, I'm pretty sure some
I feel like
thirsty
we
kids
just
in Africa
watched
would have wanted to watch
something that we didn't care for.
Oh man,
I don't remember.
I have to think.
Justice League.
Well,
would be
only
my
part
pick.
of us. I can see. Let's see. Do we add the 80 million plus whatever the original was that because he got 80 million to make his cut?
You know, you have to add the original, even though he was an EP. He was an
Yeah.
executive producer.
Mm.
Even though everybody wants to trash Joss Whedon now. The thing is we finally crunched the numbers, and we've
Yeah.
got our water step rating system,
Mhm.
which is really going to be coined, aka the Matt Damon system.
Well, the original budget was 300 million, so with added the 80, that's 380 million.
Okay,
million
so and we looked it up. So it's like a family of roughly 4.
You can give a family of 4 water for $25.
So we now have to take the $380 million and divide that by 25 and then multiply it by 4, and that's how many people we could have given fresh
We
and clean
could have
water.
for Zack Snyder's Justice League. We could have given 60,800,000 people
60
water.
million people
Clean
could have
water.
had clean water instead of seeing that.
Mm. Mm.
Think about it. There's real choices to
I'm
be
really
made,
enjoying
people.
this. I'm going to
Mhm.
to look up I'm going to look up
We
Transformers.
need to
all of
make a
Yes.
spreadsheet.
I really want to
Neil?
know.
The
Neil in
whole-
Boston?
The whole saga of Transformers,
Oh yeah.
like all of them. You
Well,
have to put them
maybe
all
they
together.
could have given the whole
That's
country.
billions of
You could
dollars.
have given all of Africa water for
Oh, yeah.
the Transformers.
I mean, eventually,
franchise.
it's kind of funny because for how many movies that are just garbage out there, literally there would not be one thirsty person on Earth.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what it really comes down to.
if we had, yeah, or
It's like-
food for that matter. We probably feed.
Yeah,
we need to
could
figure a
give
food
food
one.
and
Yeah.
water to every
Yeah.
person in the world that needs it, instead of some of the terrible movies.
I
that
think
we've
food's even cheaper to some degree.
It
In a lot of cases,
it
it's
probably
like-
is
I think it's cheaper
because
than
it
even
actually takes a pretty
because you have to,
expensive
like,
process
clean
to
the water,
to
yeah.
clean the water. Yeah, and they got to build this whole contraption, and that's what you're paying for. But food, it's like
Neil said, did someone say spreadsheets? We need a database.
I
Or
think
we
this
need
would be a
some- we
great
need
database.
we need an app that calculates this.
how much money could have really truly gone to people?
The Damon scale.
The Damon
The
scale.
Damon scale.
Oh my gosh, that's what we're doing here at Red Moon. We're the way of the future.
We're changing the
Way of
world.
the future.
Way of the future.
Way
Way
of
of
the
the future.
Way of the future.
Way of the future.
The way
How
of the
much
future.
was Willy's Wonderland? I bet that had a tiny budget though.
We'll see, and then you see movies
I
like
hope
Get
so.
Out that are like $10 million. And
Brad
they're
says,
amazing.
for less than a cup of coffee a day.
Yes, Starbucks.
That's great.
Willy's Wonderland's budget was only $5 million, so that's good.
I mean, all we're
Really?
doing, it was $5
$5
million?
million?
$5 million.
Well, I kind of believe that. Those
So
animatronics.
M. Night has made movies cheaper than Willy's Wonderland.
What?
$5 million.
M. Night has made a
5
movie
million is
cheaper
n-
than $5 million.
$5 million is nothing.
Yeah,
though.
that's a time.
Yeah,
very
but
tiny
I'm
budget.
saying I thought M. Night had made a movie for less than $5 million.
I don't know.
I don't know if he
Yeah.
did. It was probably like Wide Awake or something like really early in his career.
And there was definitely one of the Blumhouse movies was
almost
less
all of
than
the
5
Blumhouse
million.
movies are like
You
10
could
to
get
12 million.
800,000 people for Willy's Wonderland.
Well,
it's, you know,
it's
That's
worth the
still a lot of
entertainment.
people.
it's a lot of people.
That one's
Yeah.
worth the entertainment, though. I would rather go thirsty.
You
and
mean-
watch
you mean
Willy's
look
No,
up-
you mean you would rather let Africans go thirsty.
That is the choice I'm making.
Right.
That is the choice I'm making.
To keep Willy's
That's,
Wonderland.
You know,
that's the
it's-
answer of a
I'm
white
just-
privileged person.
Yep.
True. I
Yep.
mean, would you expect
You'd rather
anything
keep
less?
You'd rather keep your
I am a
terrible
privileged American here.
movie.
I'm just saying. Look, this is God's answer to Tom's, but Tom's for movies.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what we're creating here at Red Moon.
I mean, I think that movie, that's what stopped my dad's arteries up. 'Cause it wasn't long after he saw that movie that he had to have bypass surgery.
But now he's got an animatronic heart.
No, he doesn't.
Well, I know. I'm just trying to make it sound.
Animatronic heart?
I'm trying to make it sound more dramatic.
He's got a Chuck E. Cheese heart.
I mean, wow.
Well, here's the thing.
He actually did have a Chuck E. Cheese heart. That's the problem.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
true.
Full of cheese.
Cut back on
from all
the
his
Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it's like those were not animatronics in that movie. They were straight up just puppets. Like,
They weren't puppets. They were people in costumes.
yeah, and it was like
That was like freaking Louis the Lightning Bug.
yes, that's right. All right, guys,
All
we got
right,
a
let's
packed
get in it.
show. We've got our last Oscar-nominated Best Picture nominated.
Jeff Morning
I
says
just-
he's got a new heart.
Yeah, I was gonna say he does have a new heart, don't you? Holy
yeah.
crap!
Rebuilt or new?
I think it's new.
He had a transplant?
I think he had a heart transplant.
That's
That-
crazy.
That's insane.
That is crazy.
In fact, he had a heart transplant. It was right before he was supposed to go on his honeymoon. He
Oh,
just
wow.
had his honeymoon. I think it was just
She
like
broke
what-
his heart.
no,
Oh.
they're still together. She's been with them through the process.
She healed his heart.
She healed his
she
heart.
was
Yeah,
there right
she
with. That's
healed
right.
him.
That's right.
Man,
Love.
that's
the
awesome.
power of love.
How much love could you? Never mind. Never mind.
How much love could you buy?
No.
That's a dangerous place to go.
I was gonna say give to the Africans,
Oh.
but I don't know. Then we're going down a weird
Yeah.
slope. I don't know what kind
So
of scale
for
that is.
for M Night Shyamalan's I had to do this one. I was curious. The Last Airbender.
Oh, God.
24 million people could have gotten water for that movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. That was terrible. But here's the thing. You know what's not terrible? This show. Every single Tuesday,
Every
9 p.m.
single.
live. You can tune in here, YouTube, Facebook.
Can you?
Even on Twitter.
It's so damn good. We got 3 viewers.
Oh my gosh, that's just mind blowing. That's fantastic. But we do have our last Best Picture nominated film, Minari's review, is coming up,
Yep.
and we're
Wonderful Minari.
It actually isn't bad.
Wonderful Minari.
Wonderful Minari.
Wonderful.
That's the song.
Is that
That
I
was
didn't-
the song that they
That was
sang.
the song.
I didn't hear that.
Wonderful Minari.
Song at all.
Minari.
Totally skip past that, or I didn't skip past it. Just don't remember it.
Wow.
Just don't
You're such a jerk.
I'm
Gosh,
terrible.
You're a jerk.
But we also are going to let you in on what we're going to review next week.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar picks are done. We've reviewed them all.
Yeah.
Go on our website, redmoonproductions.com. Check out all the last Oscar noms that we've just done.
We're gonna
Our past
we're gonna announce our
reviews.
official picks next week, though, right? That's
Yes.
Oh,
right.
because next week is the
Good.
last week before the Oscars, so we're
Mhm.
going to do what we think is going to win and what we would like to
Mhm.
win
Mhm.
next week.
I've got most of them. There's still a few movies I want to try to watch first. I don't know if I'll get to, but It's definitely one that I pretty much have all mine picked. I don't think it's going to change, but there's just a few other movies that weren't part of the Best Picture noms. I do actually want to try it. Like the one I was telling you about with Mads Mikkelsen.
Another round.
Yes, I really want to see that.
Actually, nominated for Best Director and Best Foreign Film.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we've got some movies in the chute that I think are going to be a little bit more entertaining for the mass audiences out there. And that is, of course, next week, because Mortal Kombat got pushed back, we're going to do Chaos Walking. Which has been out for a couple weeks. Then we're going to have our Mortal Kombat review, and then we're going to review Nobody with Bob Odenkirk, which is kind of a John Wick type of film. So who knows? And Keith's just going to stroke his hair.
Turning Saul into an action star.
I just enjoy this so much.
And our viewers don't.
Let's watch the movie.
All right, here we go, guys. And they just keep dropping like flies. Obviously, more people would rather tune into The Martian. All righty, guys. Here is our review of our last Oscar-nominated Best Picture film, which is Minari.
We wrap up our review of the Best Picture nominees with Minari, a film that has received a ton of hype and praise from critics and Academy members. But is the film as good as its reputation, or is this just another instance of Hollywood politics? Starring Steven Yeun as Jacob Yi, Minari tells the story of a Korean immigrant family who moves from California to Arkansas to start a farm growing Korean produce. Jacob's marriage is rocky as he is determined to make it selling produce while neglecting his family. And he and his wife Monica, played by Han Yi-ri, argue considerably through the movie concerning the family's welfare, especially that of their son David, played by Alan Kim, who suffers from a heart condition. The family soon pays to have Monica's mother, Sun-ya, portrayed by Yoon Yoo-jung, moved in from South Korea to help watch the children, though Sun-ya too constantly clashes with the family due to cultural differences. Ultimately, the film is a look at an immigrant family's attempt to integrate into American culture while maintaining their own cultural identity, while also showcasing the hardships all families face regardless of race or culture. The film is well made and acted and does show how much humanity is more alike than different, though this is a theme that has been done several times over in the last decade. Films like Blinded by the Light and The Farewell represent foreign culture blending and adapting to their new homes while maintaining the sense of family and desires all people share regardless of where you come from much more effectively. This does not, however, mean Minari is a bad film. It just means it's not as special as it's praised to be. Steven Yeun and Yoon Yoo-jung both give solid performances, but nothing revolutionary. Though if I had to pick one to win an Oscar, I would say Yoon Yoo-jung is definitely the better of the two. While stereotypical, her portrayal of a cantankerous old woman set in the ways of her homeland is often hilarious and true. The movie does showcase the hardships faced by any family, not just an immigrant family, with its focus on David and his heart condition, alongside Jacob and Monica's troubled marriage, and its themes of family and love are also messages I appreciate. But at the end of the day, the film doesn't pull my heartstrings near as much as its competition like Nomadland or Sound of Metal. For this, I give Minari 3 out of 4 stars.
3 out of 4 stars there for Minari.
Minari.
Our last Best Picture nominated film review. How about that?
Huh.
What do you all think?
I liked it.
I did too.
I actually, it's funny because
I would agree 3 out of 4, by the way.
When I first watched it, I honestly was kind of feeling 3.5. But then as I was writing my review and I was thinking about Blinded by the Light and The Farewell, which both take like immigrant families and show like how they blend in but still maintain their culture and how their family life is still relatable no matter what culture they're from. And this movie had a lot of that, but then I was thinking of Blinded by the Light and The Farewell, and I was like, well, hell, those movies handled that material, I felt, way better.
Yeah.
And they didn't even get like Best Picture nominations. So I was like, I'm going to knock that half star down a little. So
I was in the same boat. It was actually your review that kind of I was already at the 3-star mark, but then that cemented it when you brought up those other films and how much more powerful they are.
Okay.
And I was in the same boat, 3 out of 4 stars. Sean, what about you?
I thought we were going to be on different pages here, but
We're all?
I actually was 3.5 until the end of the film. And the way the film ended took a half star down for me, and I'm at 3.
Nice. So
Yeah.
we all settled.
Yeah.
We all settled. It's good to settle.
Here's my thing.
I did like. Oh, well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. All I was going to say is the other reason why I gave it 3 stars was ultimately partly because, and maybe this is bad that I slanted this way for that reason, but it's because it was a Best Picture nom, and I did not think I probably would have liked this better
If
had
it
it
hadn't
not
been
been a
nominated.
Best Picture nom, because I thought it was a little forced. I just didn't think this deserved to be a Best Picture nom.
I agree and
It's not
disagree
bad,
just
it
because while it's not as good as Nomadland or Sound of Metal or The Father, I still felt it was much better than Trial of the Chicago 7
Yeah,
or
some
I
of the-
Promising Young
Some
Woman.
of the other ones, people, yeah.
I felt like it was right in the middle because I thought Promising Young Woman, Trial of the Chicago 7, and there's a third one that I thought was worse than this. I don't even remember what the other one is. So
It's probably forgettable.
That's probably why. Yeah,
That's why we
Because
don't
there were
even
7
know.
nominees,
well,
right?
we said Judas and the Black Messiah, but that was better.
No,
I
that was
thought.
better. That one's
Yeah.
better. Was it a best? It is a best.
It's
picture
a Best
nominee.
Picture.
So yeah,
Ma Rainey was the one
Ma
that got
Rainey.
passed
yeah,
up.
okay.
That we
So
would've-
Judas and the Black Messiah, The Father, Nomadland, Sound of Metal would be better than this one, and then the other. So it's kind of like right in the middle.
I would agree. I would agree.
But I really liked it. Like even though we're saying the reasons why we don't like it,
Right.
Yeah.
While at the same time I did like it. I do not think, as far as Stephen Ewan winning Best Actor, I don't think that's going to happen.
It's a long shot.
He wasn't bad. I didn't think he was as good as Anthony Hopkins, Chadwick Boseman, or
Riz Ahmed, who's
Yeah.
still
my pick.
my go-to.
I honestly didn't even, as much as I thought Gary Oldman was weaker in that category, I still think he was slightly better than Stephen Ewan, just in that he was portraying like Mank, a whole entirely different person,
Yes.
and kept that air and atmosphere of who he was about him. But as far as I forget the woman's name who plays Sunya, I can't pronounce it. I apologize, but I did think
you had
she
a hard
was,
time while
Yeah,
recording.
I did
the
think
review.
she was
It's funny because there's way better actors in the movie than Stephen Ewan, and that's
Yes.
like it's just
True.
like how is he the only
Well,
one
listen,
out of this
she
film that
was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, and I
Yeah.
do like her. I thought she was hilarious. That was
I'll
the
be
grandmother.
honest,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
freaking kid I thought was.
Yes.
I thought
Yeah.
David in
Yeah.
the movie. Is,
The little girl is not. I didn't feel like she gave it her all. And to be quite honest with you, even what was the guy's name that plays the fanatic?
I'm forgetting his name. The guy
But
from
I mean-
Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was
He
fantastic.
plays not Coach Boone is Denzel.
Yeah,
Who's-
he plays the
Coach Yost.
the assistant coach.
Coach
yeah,
Yost.
Yost.
Yeah.
Put my son in, Yost. Put him in. He's taking him out. Ryan Gosling. Sorry.
Yep. But no, he was great, and the grandmother was great. I even thought the wife was better than. I don't know. I felt like there was so many other characters that you're expecting him to be, because his is the name that's he's nominated, and it's just like I didn't feel like he gave anything.
One scene.
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
one scene that's standout,
Yeah.
and it's so for it to carry the weight of a Best Actor.
Yeah.
Like it, and I hate it because then you see the tabloids come out of first Asian American ever nominated, and I'm like, okay, well now that his performance isn't so standout, I'm like, is this the reason why he's given the nomination? And that's the only thing that I have as a knock against it is I'm like, it's not that he does a bad job, it's just
Yeah.
not exceptional.
Yeah.
And when you're going for an Academy Award, you need exceptional.
I definitely think yes, Riz Ahmed deserves it. I don't think he'll win. I still think Chadwick Boseman will, which I
Yeah.
do think Chadwick Boseman was the second best, but still, yeah, I would put Stephen Ewan at the bottom of the pile. And I mean, it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't to me Best Actor material.
Agreed.
But I do enjoy like the themes and the message of the movie, and I appreciated that while it is about an immigrant family like and their culture mixed with American culture, and it touches on those things. It doesn't do so. Like anytime you make something political, I get nervous because Hollywood films nowadays are so slanted sometimes, and I appreciate when they can make a movie that has political themes without leaning it one way or the other. They can just say, this is real life. These are what these people have to deal with when they are immigrating or when they are, becoming a part of a new society. And I
Right.
appreciate the honesty without the loaded nature that some filmmakers add into the movie.
I
Absolutely.
appreciated that it showed, because one of the themes is the American dream.
Yes.
And I appreciated that it showed the fact that they had the opportunity, or he had the opportunity to pursue his dreams.
Yeah.
And he had the opportunity to, he actually starts in that pursuit, but sometimes
went
it
down
doesn't.
the wrong pipe.
Right. Sometimes it doesn't. You all right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't always work out. And, the American dream doesn't always work out for everybody. But
Right.
there's the good thing about America is you can have multiple dreams.
Yeah.
And that
No.
one dream may not have worked out, but in the end, the dream of being a family and the dream of being together and in this place, in this new land.
Learning
Well,
what's
I was
important
gonna
to
say,
you, too,
Right,
'cause
right.
I love
Yes.
that.
That
It's-
figures itself out.
Well,
I mean, the one thing about the movie, and I will say this is not something, I didn't go into the movie thinking that it was going to be a religious experience in any kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
But after, I felt like there were instances in the film that led it in the direction of the kid's heart being healed and the crops yielding and things kind of working out, even the family coming back together. I felt like there were things that were leading it in the direction of this is divine intervention in
Right.
some ways. I even looked at it as, I mean, if you really think about it, the farm was what was tearing the family apart. And if the grandmother would have never had a stroke, she would have never dropped the fire, which would have never burned down the shed, and their family would have split.
Yeah.
And the
She
one
saved them.
the one thing that bad thing that happens to her ends up being what ultimately it shows him that that's not the most important thing. His
Yes.
pride and his wanting to provide for his family and pursue this dream, that wasn't what was really important. And he was willing to let his family go
Yeah.
in order to
I mean,
keep
he
that dream
told her
alive.
Well,
that
and
he
his
flat out
crop-
tells her.
Yeah, his crop
Yeah.
was more important than the family.
Well, and I think it's like
which is terrible.
which
Well,
the
I don't
thing
think
is-
he says it that
No,
way.
I don't think he does
not
either.
in
but
that
she's
direct
she's
way.
making her
but-
choice, but he
yes.
is saying, like, if you think you need to go, then
Yeah.
go, because this is, I just got, confirmation that my dream's working out.
Yeah.
And so I'm sticking with that. And
Well, and I think he's doing it because he's trying to play this hard line of this. I'm doing this for my family, and ultimately, what it
but he
really
was really doing it for himself.
he was, but again, it takes you through. I think the nature of the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows that you have with going on this adventure, and it's like what journey you might set out on in life isn't always going to lead you to this prosperous. You have that in your mindset, and you think, oh, I want to create this for my family and leave them something behind. But it's like, to what extent? To the point of losing your family,
Right. There's not a
And-
family to leave anything behind if you lose them in
yeah,
the process.
But I think too, it also shows even like his wife's kind of tenderheartedness, but also what she's willing to put up with, and also the hard line in the sand she's willing to draw. But then at the same time, how easy it is for him to just what he has to face in order to say, okay, no, it's not worth it, and how much she's willing to melt back into his arms to say, okay, this is why this is what we're doing it for.
Yeah.
And absolutely, I think it's a beautiful message, and I think a lot of I've seen again, so much of it gets kind of layered in the political context of the day, but the reason why, and this is one way in which I would be okay with it being nominated for Best Picture, and we always talk about anytime a Best Picture nomination is given, it should be for films that are timeless. And to me, this is a message that transcends, a culture and a time. And I will say that it's like, you can watch this film, and because of the community it brings up and the family, nature, it's like, okay, it's not just important because it's from this perspective of these, Korean Americans coming to, kind of create a better life for themselves. It's like, no, that's everybody's, that's everybody's intention of the American dream and what they want to accomplish.
Yeah, right.
And yet at the same time, it's like you do get lost sometimes in what that dream is and what you're chasing after than what you're doing it for. And I think that's absolutely a message that this film brings to the table, and it all the more reason why it's given 3 out of 4 stars from us.
Right. One of the other things that the movie did well is the fact that it didn't go down the path of racism. I feel like the movie could have definitely thrown some people in their path of this family that would have put them down or done this or that, and it was very genuine to me that they were showing the fact that not everywhere you go are there redneck white people that are trying to put you down. There's one moment where this other little boy says, "Why is your face so flat?" And he says it's not. And he's like, "Oh, okay. You want to spend the night?" And
Yeah,
it's just like
it's
exactly
innocence.
exactly.
And
but
like,
again, even in that's in the eyes of children though. But even with the adults, the women in the church are very inviting to the family. The pastor is very nice to them. The very few scenes that it shows, this fanatical charismatic Christian guy comes out of nowhere, and he's kind of wacky and zany, but he never looks at them any different.
Yeah.
And then it shows the little boy, the little white kid, when they stay the night at his house, the dad shows up that morning, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh man, this is it. This guy's gonna sit at the table and say something negative about his dad.
Yeah.
Buying that farm and not being an American and not wanting to do, and
They're gonna
this
set it
farm
up,
should have
yes.
been I thought, here it goes. They're setting it up for this redneck guy to be a jerk, and he's the most considerate and nice kid. You can tell there's something wrong with the guy. He's a,
Well, he's just-
he
he-
says
he's a
like, tell your
typical-
mom I came by.
Well, he's a
or
typical
whatever.
deadbeat. He's
Yeah,
like, tell your
exactly.
mom I was here all night.
Right, exactly,
it's just like,
exactly,
okay, but
exactly.
he's not-
But he's courteous and nice
Yeah.
to him. He says,
Yeah.
"You help your dad with that farm, boy." And
Yeah.
I loved that because I'm like, this is the America that I know, that
Well,
I
and
see
even
every
when
day.
he gets the tractor at the beginning and the guy's willing to help out and he's like, I'm a hard worker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and he's an eccentric guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I love the fact that it was like, yeah, it's a when you don't have the blinded narrative that we're
Right.
constantly
right.
thrown into with social media and just the media in general. And it's like when you just have people who are trying to work hard for themselves to get ahead and give a better life.
Yeah.
And you
Not to
have
mention
that.
they were in Arkansas.
Yeah. Well, I
you know
mean,
what I'm saying?
well, they
That's-
came from California,
came
so
from
it's like
California.
obviously it didn't work out well in California.
Yeah.
And it's just like for them to have come
You can't
to
farm in California.
well, they'll take all your crops because of taxes.
Well, yeah, and there ain't no water in California because the government holds it all and gives it to the big companies and the big farms.
But no, it's like I think what the film hits hardest at the most is stereotypes that we have in today's society.
Mm-hmm.
And so people who are like clamoring and you see the headlines that are just like the film we need for our time. And they're trying to push it as like, yeah, it's this racial narrative. And it's like, no,
It shows the truth.
it shows the melting pot that we are as America.
Yeah.
That people are trying to criticize when you try to take race out of the subject. And it's like, but that's the exact inherent message that we should be prospering and moving forward with
Yeah.
as a people. And it's like you see the good that comes from that when you have that community you can rely on and ultimately when you have that family. And I think that's another thing that the movie does really well is it kind of shows you that balance of, yeah, he of course depends on this eccentric guy to help him with his crops.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of does eventually invite him into his home and lets a little bit of that eccentricness,
Right.
wear off, on his family. But then at the same time, it's still The Rock is his family.
Yeah.
This guy is, someone he's close to, but it's not his family.
Right.
He's not there
Yeah.
for the hard time of,
Yeah.
the tragedy that happens. And it's like, to me, that is why this movie is good. And that's why ultimately it could speak to generations to come. And of course, people of all kinds of backgrounds.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely worth checking out.
It
no
is.
doubt.
It is one that I'll admit I would watch again. And,
Yeah.
and that's and yeah, you guys know I've laid it on thick that I hate movies with subtitles. But
Yeah.
once I started watching the movie and actually got the subtitles to work,
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, oh god, here we go. Everything's and
well,
it
luckily
had a
it's
good blend of
not-
English and
let's say,
subtitles,
Yeah.
so it wasn't
it's
like
about 50-50.
yeah, it's not like reading a book and not being able to see the emotional moments
Yeah.
because I'm spending too much time reading. But it was such a
Read
good
faster.
movie to me that I can't. I
I'm
don't, I
just
don't
gonna
read
say-
enough to read faster.
I'm
Well,
just-
I always hate it
But,
just because it's like,
I always hate when people say that to other because I don't mind subtitled movies, but I always
Yeah.
thought that was a dumb because I have seen other people that watch subtitles and be like, "Well, you just need to learn to read faster." It's like not everybody can read fast.
well, it's
Yeah.
not only that, but it's like to me, there's sometimes too where there's subtitled films where I don't mind subtitles, but when you have so much thick dialogue and it's like I can't even watch the movie, I'm just reading,
Right,
And
right.
now I'm missing the
yeah,
actual
that's
point
kind of
of a film.
how I feel about them.
Yeah.
and that's but this movie had a good mix
Balance.
and a lot of the lines weren't so long that they took away from the film when you're
Yeah.
having to read subtitles. But
And the way in which it's shot and what
It's
it
very-
consists
yeah,
of is just
yeah.
kind of more human to human
I think
interaction.
I would say that's another thing. Cinematography. It had the natural feel.
Yeah.
That Nomadland had all
Yeah.
natural light. All the. I mean.
Yep.
I don't know. I liked it. I feel that it deserves to be in the category more than some of the other films.
yeah, I agree with that.
But I'm still Sound of Metal all the way.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
here. Sound of metal.
Sound of
Sound
Metal.
of Metal.
The sound of hard rock.
Hard
Metal.
rock metal, which we're going to
Metal.
get into our picks
Next
week.
Interested.
We got to wait.
It's going to be pretty interesting what's going to happen.
Hey, boy, you have a pretty mouth.
Yep.
All righty, guys. I think it is time and ready to move on to our headlines. Let's roll that beautiful footage. Headlines.
Okay.
You almost say it fast enough. It sounds like headlights. Headlights.
You stop. You're gonna make me itch.
It's like,
No, you're gonna start thinking about it.
you got the
now.
dog all upset
Oh,
now.
man.
She was sleeping.
she
and now
was.
She's all upset.
and
She
now
was
she's like,
not-
headlights.
What? Nope.
She scratches me. I'm gonna F-bomb again.
Oh, don't F-bomb. Don't
F-bomb.
do that. Let's keep it PG-13.
It's like, here comes Edie, scratches you. F-bomb.
Yeah, you can do that. You can bleep yourself.
Oh, fudge. All right. What's our headlines?
Our headlines are fantastic. Some are at the beginning
Fan-frickin-tastic.
of the
Yeah, I
the
saw 'em.
pre-roll there, and we're going to talk about
One
two
of them actually is fantastic.
Well, I don't
If
want
you're on the right side of the fence.
I don't want to, because if we go out
Dad
of order,
joke.
if we get out of order, Brandon gets. I do that every week, so I'm gonna let him go from the first
Yes.
one.
let
No,
Brandon-
well-
it's his show. Let him do it.
I just want
You
y'all to
can't
know.
mention the second headline yet.
No, you can't.
See,
Because it's out of order.
See?
And then I got to Well, when I already have it up, I don't have the lower third up yet.
Yeah.
That's the rule of thumb. But you can't see what program
well, see, that's not our fault. I don't know when it's up or not.
I know
Let's
that-
talk about the third topic then.
yeah.
If y'all can remember it, I'll let y'all talk about it.
I
Don't
was
look
just-
at your notes. You can't look at your notes. What was the third topic?
I don't know what the first one was.
I don't know.
Actually, Sean brought up the second topic.
I know he did. I remember that one was the
No,
second.
our first topic of discussion is
Spring rolls.
a Paramount failure. Okay? It's a Paramount failure. Yes, Paramount is in the studio, and Paramount as in colossal. Colossal failure.
Whoa.
Cowards
See what you
they
did
are.
there.
Cowards they be.
Mm.
Let's talk about it, Keith. I loved it because when I first sent this article to you all, you were the first one that
I just
threw that
commented
tag
coward.
Yeah, I loved it.
Well, it made me mad. Well, first of all, let's explain what Paramount's doing, because we just keep talking about Paramount.
Yeah.
They have decided to push back all of their movies again, which includes Top Gun Maverick, which we've been highly anticipating, Mission Impossible.
That was not the dog.
No.
That was just Sean being
Yep,
frustrated.
but it also
with his
includes
news.
Mission Impossible and some other movies that we really don't care about now. But it just makes me mad because there's this huge complaint about, well, nobody's going to the theaters, so we don't want to release our movies. But it's like, well, if you don't release your movies, nobody's going to go back to the theater.
Well, and here's the thing.
it's like
We
this
just
endless
had
cycle.
the headline
With
of how
Kong.
well Godzilla versus Kong was doing.
Yes, but you know,
And
80
they-
million's not the billions they're used to making. It's like, we understand that, but if you don't start releasing
Yes.
movies, you're not going to get back to having
And not only
those
that,
huge blockbusters.
we're talking about that being monumental at a time where we're still on heavy lockdown in
Yeah.
major populated states
By
like New
July?
York and California. But by July,
when
middle
Top
of the
Gun was
summer,
coming out, yeah.
you're telling me that people aren't going to be
AMC
lining
is
up?
already. They've got 88% of their theaters fully open.
Yeah.
88%. And
And
I
you're
mean,
telling me
when
we
we take
can't?
that's New York and L.A.
Yep.
are the two that are the biggest ones that are still on lockdown.
Yep.
But everywhere else, come on, release some damn movies.
Exactly. We know they'll do well. We know people are eager to get back out. They're eager to get back to the theaters.
If people are willing to go back to theaters to see Godzilla vs. Kong, which raked in 80 million, I guarantee you in July, you're going to have a ton of people
Well,
going
Yep.
to see Top Gun.
No doubt. And
Especially
here's
4th
the
of
thing.
July weekend, that was going to make bank.
Oh,
regardless-
absolutely. And that's what is more infuriating is it's like unless they're trying to push it back for Oscar reasons, they pushed it back to November when it's clearly one of those summer blockbuster releases.
Well, its original release date was December of 2019.
But it made
Yeah,
sense that they pushed it
Then
back.
it was,
no,
what, May of
but it
this
was
year,
pushed
or
back
was it
in
March?
December of 2019 to the summer because well before the pandemic because it just made sense that it would release around July 4th. It was a summer blockbuster type of film.
Yep.
And so the pandemic had everybody delay. It made sense. Okay, we're putting it on hold for a year. But here we are, excited for the summer, excited to have our vaccines, get back to normal. And yet they push it back to November. And what's worse is then you have Mission Impossible.
Yep.
It's now pushed back to July or May of next year.
Yep.
So now we're waiting another full year for the next Mission Impossible film. And I forget what other major release
And at some
there was.
point, I just am going to stop caring.
Star Trek. The new Star Trek film was pushed back to June 9th of
Yeah,
2023.
Well, that's because it wasn't
2023?
even done filming yet. Like,
No, but they're obviously.
I don't even know if it had started filming yet. So
No, it hadn't.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
mean,
like
now they've-
clearly
yeah.
we're headed on schedule for it being released next year.
Next year.
But the fact that now it's going to be almost a year and a half away.
I'm really pissed about the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
I would
That's
be
the
too.
one.
Here's my thing: is the more they push movies back, the more the less I care about. Like at this point, I don't care that much about Mission Impossible 7 anymore because it's like, well, I don't know when I'm going to get to see it, so I no longer care.
Yeah.
True.
Same
Yeah.
thing with Marvel. I really do want to see their new movies, but the more they push Black Widow back, the less I care about that movie.
Well, and
It's
again,
like, I'm just not even interested anymore.
And not to mention the controversy surrounding are they going to release it in theaters or on streaming or at the same time?
Yep.
And it's just
it's like I'm tired of watching the same trailer over and over. At this
Yes.
point, I no longer care.
right. And it's like, and the more you delay it, the more like the less interested I am.
Yeah.
And we even talked about the positive aspect of some of the Marvel films being put on hold for a year to let everybody breathe.
Yeah.
But now we're here. We're back. We're anticipating getting back into theaters. I'm already thinking about. I don't want to get too political, but I'm already thinking about not renewing my AMC membership
Uh-oh.
to A-list.
Mm.
I'm thinking about boycotting them, only because they have taken a stance after this whole Georgia debacle with all these other major companies.
Mhm.
They got together with a bunch of other
Yeah.
huge elitist corporations to, stamp down on, try to figure out ways in which they can basically influence the consumer to not have the power to make certain choices in their own states.
Yeah.
Because they will then pull support for certain, movies or
Yeah,
whatever it may be, whatever their business may be.
Yeah.
And I'm just not for that. I'm sorry. I don't want to support a business that's going to take my money and then try to turn around and sell me a bill of goods that I don't agree with just because I went to go to them for seeing a freaking movie that has nothing to do with their beliefs.
And I feel that, but my thing is, if you,
I know it's a dangerous game because
It
then you
is.
got to think
No.
what all the corporations that you do go
yeah, like
to or
Coca-Cola,
support.
it's
of
like,
course, and
am I gonna stop drinking Coca-Cola? I don't really drink them that often, anyways. I do drink Coke Zero, but that's about it.
but
Yeah.
here's the thing, and I'm not. These are not my particular principles
Yeah.
that I normally stand on. But it's gotten so toxic.
I'm all for boycotting
in the industries
Yeah.
now, where the corporations are being fed this lie from people who are just a loud minority,
Yep.
trying to clamor together saying, you must support our position or we will publicly tarnish your reputation, and then they cave to it.
Yeah.
And we've seen now instances recently that you don't have to cave to it, and guess what? The loud minority shuts up.
Yeah.
Because they don't really have any power. It's artificial power that we're giving them.
Well,
and now the corporations are jumping on the bandwagon because they don't want negative press.
Yeah, they do things like this to kind of test the water.
Yes.
And usually, if everybody doesn't allow them, they back down.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm all for boycotting Nike and Dick's Sporting Goods and things like that because they're one of them tramples on the flag and the other one is taking a Second Amendment right away. I mean, not really, but that's what they stand for.
They're supporting
They
it.
stand
They're supporting
against,
it.
yeah.
So there's different things that
It's
I'm
principle.
willing to boycott.
When they stand
but
against, with Dick's Sporting Goods, it's like when you stand against something that is actually part of what you're you
you're
sell
a sporting
guns.
goods store,
Yes.
but you're not going to sell guns.
Yeah, it's stupid. So for me, it's like with AMC, it's harder mainly because we do this show, and I can't afford to see movies every week and review them if I don't have
I
a way.
agree.
Yeah. I don't
So it's one of
know.
those
Here's the
things-
thing. I don't know if Rave has something. I don't know if there's another movie.
They do.
Movie Pass may be coming back.
Cinemark has something,
It's
but
just not as good of a deal.
Yeah, Cinemark you
really.
get like one ticket a week, and I'm like, well, that's the same price, or it's like
Yeah.
it's something weird. It's not really worth it, and it's one of those things where it's like,
Here's the thing. I know I may take a personal hit. Again, it's all about. Look, I know there's no way I can 100%
I will-
boycott things that I disagree with.
I
and
will
think it's
boycott
stupid.
AMC with you if you pay for me to see the movie.
Well, here's the thing.
Because that's the only way I'm going to be able to review it.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not telling you all to
Well, I know-
boycott.
I know
it. It's a
you're not.
personal
No.
choice.
Yeah,
No, we
absolutely
understand
know
that.
you're
But I'm
Yeah.
also saying, like, in somewhat, it's a situation where it's a personal choice, and I may be willing to pay $5 extra for a lesser deal.
I would too
if I
could afford
knew
it.
that I was supporting a company that didn't necessarily care and just all they cared about was, do I get great popcorn and watch a good movie on awesome technology?
But
that's
you know-
all I care about.
But the thing is
why the hell
once,
do you have any
once
social
AMC,
stance?
Once AMC does it, they'll all do it.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to let AMC be the social justice warriors and them not be them.
Well, here's the
So
thing.
that's
I don't
just the
think,
thing.
but I do think, just like Pepsi hasn't jumped on the same bandwagon as Coke. They may be in
Yeah.
privately, but as far as being as woke as Coke has been, Coca-Cola,
Coca-Cola.
they haven't been as outward about it. And all I'm saying is, no, I think you're right. I think they test the waters with how much they can get away with, but then when you have something like the MLB situation that happened in Georgia,
Which is
where it was
bull.
huge backlash,
Yeah.
and ultimately what you really saw was it hurt the very people that they moved the game away from. Ultimately, I'm like, there are little ways in which I, as a consumer, can take my dollar and spend it. And I've thought about this even in the last year of eating out.
Yep.
And I've been terrible about it. I'm not saying I'm a perfect, consumer in that right, but there are ways in which I'm like, okay, I need to stop going to the freaking drive-thrus because they're quick, because they're the ones that benefited this whole last year.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to go to the mom and pop shops and find
Jeff's
some
Burger
local.
Shack.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
They're dead
They're
now,
dead.
and it makes me sad.
Yep.
Exactly. And it's like
He's talking about getting a truck, and I
A
hope
food
so.
truck.
I really hope so.
But
Oh,
it's like
man, that would
over the
be-
last
yeah.
year, we have seen, the bigger releases I know go to Baxter. Baxter's a smaller independent
And I like
theater.
Baxter.
And it's like most of the time if we do independent film reviews, we have to go there to see it. Now, granted, they don't have a subscription service. It's a one ticket, one
I have
view.
no problem at all because I've always believed in paying more for better quality anyway. So I have no problem with paying to see a movie every time for something I believe in. I just know right now I can't. That's not that's the
Yeah,
only reason.
and that's fine.
Just
That's
because we
fair.
have to see
Yeah.
something every
Right.
week to review.
Yeah.
So
The
it's-
other
it's-
thing I
yeah.
look at too is AMC. Up until this point, and granted, we've been frustrated about a lot of the things that have happened around COVID.
Yeah.
But AMC's been pretty good to us. They've worked pretty hard to not be charging us and to extend our subscription re-enlisting into that,
Giving
and
us free
yeah,
popcorns and
they've-
Cokes
Yeah,
just
I
for-
kind of feel like they've
yeah.
treated us right, and I also feel, and you could say that I'm a hypocrite about Nike and Dick's because it's not something that Dick's
I
Sporting
don't
Goods.
think it has
because-
anything to do with hypocrisy.
No, but
I think this
I
is
am
the-
I
this
am a
is-
hypocrite in the thing that I'm about to say though is I kind of think of the employees. It's not their decision to do all of these woke things. It's not the
Right.
people that work at Dick's and the people that make the the people that make Nikes live in China, in sweatshops, but. It's
Again,
not their.
forget
it's
about
not
their own
choice.
injustices that they commit
Right,
in-
right.
in
It's
terms
not
of making
their
their own
fault.
product.
So I kind of feel like if I'm not, going to see an AMC movie, then what happens to the people that work at the theaters and things like that? They're the people that matter to me. They're the
what
ones.
happens to the people that work at Dick's?
See, that's what I'm saying. I understand that.
Well, see,
but
here's the thing. I don't think it has any. This is the trap that I think the left pulls the right into, and it's like again, it's kind of this nuclear arm race. It's like no, nuclear weapons are bad, but if you don't have them, then you have no skin in the game, and you're going to be the direct result of not having them if you're caught in the crosshairs.
Right.
And to me, it's the situation of no, I
Same
don't
thing with
think
guns.
anybody on the right or any conservative would be for this kind of retaliation when it comes to this kind of corporate culture. But the fact that corporations and big tech have gotten so big and monstrous to where they invade every aspect of our lives, where they're selling our data to advertise to us, and then where we're willing to just at a click of a button for convenience sake, instead of just taking the time to actually say, okay, if my principles do really matter, then I'm going to have to, am I going to be able to completely reshape my life? No. Because it's what we've all as a society and culture have now agreed to, in an exchange enact on.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm okay with admitting that to a degree. It's not about hypocrisy as much as it is, okay, what liberties do I have then to at least take the power of an individual consumer and exert that to a certain degree?
Right.
And it's like, no, I'm not going to be able to put a death knell in any of these big corporations. But a wave of people who do that and make that choice
I agree.
will eventually hopefully get any corporation to sit there and say, oh, crap, maybe we were wrong. We shouldn't have spoke out on this. Let's go back to just doing what we do best, which is let's provide great entertaining content on the best screens available with great popcorn and great snacks and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, if that's what your aim is, which is what your first goal is as a freaking company, shut up about your damn politics, shut up about your social agendas, and just keep it to yourself.
No, I agree.
Nobody freaking cares.
And most of the time, it does end up showing on the bottom line. Dick's Sporting Goods lost 40% of their revenue when they quit selling guns.
Well, hell, freaking
And
Gillette razors lost a
showed.
shit ton
Like,
whenever
they lost a lot of money.
showed the transgender
Yeah.
commercial,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
people were just like, what is this? Like, why
Yeah.
are you even getting into this game? It's like you just make razors to shave. There doesn't need to be
Anybody
some
can
social
use
cause.
a razor. You don't have to make a
Yeah,
big
it
deal
doesn't
about
have
it.
to. Exactly. It's like, who gives a damn what you're buying the razor for? It's like, sell the freaking
I
product.
buy mine to shave my butt.
Moving on.
Okay.
All right, no, I know. I didn't want to get political, and that really didn't have a lot to do with Paramount. I got off on that tangent.
It's
But
okay.
I do think that when we're talking about hypocrisy, I think Paramount definitely lies in that bed.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think Paramount is a company of, just like we criticized WB when they took the stance of we're releasing alongside our theatrical releases on streaming.
Except for Dune.
Yeah.
Except for Dune.
Maybe.
Well, but again, and it's like
Hypocrisy, yeah. Well,
it's the back and forth, because at the end of the day,
They care about-
everybody, they have their hand on the heartbeat of what's going to happen and what the trends are, but you don't know.
Yeah.
It's what the consumer, the consumer has more power in what they choose to do with their money. And all I'm asking is, okay, let's be vigilant and let's not just spend our money on things that we know are not going to.
Let's face it, because a lot of these and here's the thing, because a lot of these big corporations now, all they care about is the dollar, and they say, and to them
Yes.
it's like okay,
They are
group-
ultimately amoral.
This group is making the biggest stink. We don't care about the other group because they're not going to say anything. So to avoid any PR situations or any money having to be doled out in that regard, we're just going to go with whatever the loudest political. Do you think Coca-Cola cares one way or another about its woke agenda or different? They don't give a shit.
No,
All
no,
they,
here-
all they
don't.
All they care about is people buying Coke.
Right.
So if the loudest people are making a stink about something, they're going to go with that just so they can say, keep buying our product. We care, see?
Well, because they know that a majority of the people who buy Coke don't know what the hell that trend
don't,
is,
yeah.
and they don't give a shit. They just want to buy Coke and drink it. It's sugar-flavored water.
It's all,
But
all
it's
of-
Steve Jobs.
That's what
Yes.
that's what Paramount. All these companies are doing whatever they think it'll take to get the most money. They really don't care about your opinion.
That's what pisses me
No.
off about anybody who's willing to back. The problem is you have the elites in Congress and politicians who like to play these games with these corporate leaders who they know they have their hands in their pockets, and they know that they can cause this disruption in terms of people not supporting them, because you get one wave of social pressure that's negative, and then, oh crap, it's like, yeah, I wonder why Coke represents Black Lives Matter. Because if you look at their board, I guarantee you they probably don't have a lot of black people on their board. They're probably led by a white CEO, or a lot of these big corporations are in the Fortune 500. And so what does a white-led board and a white CEO do? Hey, Black Lives Matter. Don't look at us. We're on your side. And of course, it's like, that's what they freaking care about,
Yeah.
is you're not going to have our business won't
MLB,
tumble.
they've got the same initials, so it's just like they've got the same.
Oh,
three
it's
letters.
backwards. MLB matters.
Yeah.
Well, they better be saying it, because right now they don't have a lot of support. But it is. It's just ridiculous to think that these corporations do care. They don't.
But
They care about one thing, and you're right. It's the greenback.
money. But
That's
you know,
all they
you know
care
who
about.
does care about the consumer?
Who?
DC?
Batfleck?
Yeah, DC.
Yeah, we better move on.
Listen,
I'm not gonna quit
They-
drinking Mellow Yellow.
They care.
I'm not.
They care about the fans, and now it's. Listen, Snyder had his chance. David Ayer's ready for his cut of Suicide Squad. The Rock's come out and saying that he's making his version of Black Adam the way he wants it, no matter
Don't
what
you
anybody
just love
says.
this?
So now,
These fans are bringing the
Yes.
power to the people
so
that matter,
now
the elites.
we're going to
Hey.
give Ben Affleck his movie back.
That's right.
Let's make his movie.
Because Batfleck is the best Batman I've ever seen. Bar none. Screw Christopher Nolan. Screw Christian Bale. Batfleck all the way.
Now they're
Yeah.
talking
Make
about the
the
4-hour
Batfleck movie.
They're talking about the 4-hour JJ cut of Rise of Skywalker. They want that released now.
Scarwalker?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, shoot.
Are you serious?
Well, he said that his original cut before he removed stuff was 4 hours long, like before the movie released. And now fans are saying, well, since we know that existed, and they released the 4-hour version of Snyder's.
I don't know why I'm acting upset. I would watch the hell.
I
out of
would.
it.
But now
I would
fans
too. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
You know
lie,
you
I
would.
But now that they've had the
I
4-hour
would.
cut of Justice League, fans want to see his 4-hour cut of Rise of Skywalker.
Hey, we the people.
Yeah.
We-
We're gonna get what we want.
You know what?
And here's the thing.
But
But that's what I'm saying.
Let David Ayer have his Suicide Squad
Think
cut.
about it.
Let Jar Jar Abrams have
If we had
Skywalker.
Jar Jar Abrams,
Maybe he is in the 4-hour cut.
Let Ruin Johnson make his trilogy. Let's just let everybody make everything they want to do and see what happens.
Yes.
what happens if in Rise of Skywalker, what's
Jar
her-
Jar Binks
No,
comes
no,
out as
no,
the
not,
real Sith
not,
Lord.
Not Jar Jar. I'm thinking of the woman that everybody was pissed at, Rose.
Kelly Marie
What
Trans.
if Rose saves the day? What if she is
Then I won't watch it.
the Skywalker?
Then I won't watch
It's
it.
like, what's your name? Rose Skywalker.
Dun, dun, dun. But no, I
C-3PO will be like, why is your face so flat? Then R2 will be like, beep,
Wrong.
burp, burp, burp.
Wrong.
Oh, it's not? Oh.
well, they already. It's fine in the Star Wars universe.
You can't
I mean,
say beep bop boop.
I know.
That's-
I just said
you can't
it.
say beep bop
boop.
You can't say that.
It's
We're
a good
banned.
Thing. It's a
We're
good
gonna
thing
get
I
banned.
already
Sexist.
deleted my Twitter, so it's a good thing.
You're getting fired just like Gina Carano.
Dang. I
Don't
forgot
worry,
about that.
Red Moon will reconsider.
Beep bop
All right.
I know the guy. It's an all-white board.
I
so
apologize.
I think you're okay.
You can write my apology for me, and I'll read it.
But no, I would. Here's where the hypocrisy sets in for me because, yeah, but here's the thing. I don't want a freaking 4-hour cut theatrical release, and I'm not going to force it. In the days when you used to have DVDs that had special
director's cuts,
features
yeah.
and you had director's cut, it was like, if you want to, we've made it. Here it is. You got to back it.
They did
Right.
that
And
with
I'm
the
okay
entire
with that.
the Alien quadrilogy. They when they released it for a box set on DVD and Blu-ray, they had the theatrical versions, and then each director they went back to and allowed them to make their own director's cut
Yeah.
to release with it. And
Yeah.
because David Fincher's director's cut of Alien 3 is actually way better than the
It
theatrical. It was way
Well,
better.
I think the director's cut of Aliens is way better.
Yes.
Like, there's so much
Honestly,
more
all of
Space
them.
Marine stuff in there.
well,
oh
except
my
for
god,
the fourth one's still bad.
Oh yeah,
It's still bad even with
Yeah.
the director's cut, but that's
Yeah.
What about Alien versus Predator?
they didn't get director's
That's-
cut. They're not
yeah.
part of the box
Well,
set.
what
No.
if he had a 4-hour cut? I think it may make the
if he
movie
wants
a
one? I
lot
don't
better.
even know who directed it, but I don't remember.
yeah. Who did that?
Nobody
It
knows.
was
Nobody
Todd-
knows.
That movie, it
He doesn't have a career anymore.
I did like the.
Same as Freddy versus Jason.
I did like Predators though.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the new
Predators
one.
with
The
Adrian
one with
Brody.
Adrian Brody.
Yes,
I
that
like that
that
one.
one's
That
good.
was
Not
good.
not the other one that we
So
went to
here's the
theaters
thing.
and saw.
Obviously, we're
The newest one. Remember? What was it? Just Predator. It was just Predator.
the newest one. Yeah,
The
the new remake.
the real goofy one
Yeah.
that had the
Who
like
the
the dog predators and everything in it. Remember?
You don't remember this one? He's like totally blanking out.
Seriously?
It's got-
Yeah.
Yes, y'all went and saw it.
We
I
went
think
and saw it and we
reviewed
talked
it.
about how terrible it
yeah.
was.
It's
Because
got
it-
the I can't think of the.
Or was it just the Predator? I don't
The
remember.
Predator,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I think it was the because the first
It's like an orange cover, and it's got the
Yeah.
hand on it with the predator mask.
that? Yeah,
because it
Like,
had like
yeah.
the Uber Predator and
right.
stuff.
The
but
one
yeah,
that
here
it takes
is.
place like in a suburb or
The
whatever.
Shane Black one, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
no.
Shane Black made that
No.
movie.
See,
That
I
was
didn't even
terrible.
remember that was.
That's
even
how bad it
It made.
was.
I didn't even know
but
about that.
wait a sec, we're not asking the right question. Was that Shane Black's movie?
Hashtag.
Maybe
The Black
he's got.
I don't know. The only thing I've
I
seen
agree.
him make that I liked was Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah.
Everything else he's done has been he did Iron Man 3 as well.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is bad. I don't need to see another cut of that. It was just garbage.
Mm.
And Mickey Rourke in Iron Man 2. no,
No, Mickey Rourke was gr- I
that,
want my
that
Boyd.
Russian act.
He was great. I want my Boyd.
But here's the thing.
Paul
Are
W. S.
we- are-
Anderson made That's why that movie was terrible. He only makes terrible movies.
Are we on the
All right.
bandwagon with the Batfleck movie?
I say let him make it.
I
I,
mean,
don't want
that's-
it, but I say let him do it.
So here's the thing. Are we in
Actually,
this?
Affleck's not a bad director. The problem
He's
is
not
still gonna-
directing it, though.
He was
I
originally.
thought
Yes.
I thought he could have been a good Batman.
He could have been.
I just didn't think he was directed properly.
No, I still don't.
I think he could be.
no.
Maybe
Henry
he's
Cavill's
directed-
the only one I'm agreeing with. it.
His Batman movie, he was writing and directing, and then he stepped down, and Matt Reeves took over, and then that's when they replaced the Batman with Robert Pattinson as well, because it was going to be directed by Affleck, and I was like, I would like to see what Batman movie he could make. Maybe not with him acting as Batman, but I
I'm
don't think
torn.
he's that bad either.
I'm torn. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be a hypocrite. It's like, yeah, Rise of Sky. Again,
I just
I
think
don't
there's so many different
mind-
evolutions of Batman that I actually liked Ben Affleck. He's the graphic novel Batman. I liked it. I think Christopher Nolan with Christian Bale. I think Christian Bale is the real world Batman.
okay, here's the
Tim
thing.
Burton is the comic book Batman. Like I
But
really
would you,
feel
would
like
you care to have these movies remade or recut, or would you rather have original content, new original content?
Why not both?
Because
I
I guarantee
would be
you,
new original content. It doesn't exist.
but I guarantee you, what's going to end up happening. But I mean, it's still like based on the same universe, and it's DC, and it's like
we're still getting the Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson one, so if we get both of them,
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
I don't know. That's expanding on what was not created already from Zack Snyder's
Yeah, true.
universe.
Just like the Joker is
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, so I would say the Robert Pattinson one's new content, And then we have the Ben Affleck one, which is old content. It's like, well, then we get best of both worlds.
I just think it's one of those things where the studios at some point are going to be like, we don't have the money to fund all this.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, it's like, okay, if it's a director who's willing to do the same thing as Snyder did and take a loss financially and say, I'll invest some of my own money, let me recut. And if it doesn't take too much production resources, I'm wondering, would that then relieve the studios from the pressure that the fans are putting on them, and then also allow them to continue with something that, again, because I don't know, it's not even just superhero movies. I'm just tired of like the bickering of it's like I'd rather just see another John Wick. Like John Wick was great. It came out of nowhere. 3 movies. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I want to see more movies like this.
I want to see it all. I want it all.
I mean, don't you think it's funny that the majority of this stuff is Warner Brother and DC, though?
Yeah.
The majority. If they would have just done it right the first time, they wouldn't have all this crap.
That's true.
I'm just saying, all of these hashtag recuts are all freaking DC movies.
Well, except for the Rise of Skywalker.
But
everything else
that's came from this movement.
It's the precedent that was set that everybody wants. Here's the thing, and I know I've already said this, but I'm dead serious.
With Sonic.
If all of this leads to Sam Raimi getting to make Spider-Man 4, then I don't care. Let it happen.
You know what? That's what we need to start. I would
already started.
Yes. I sent you that link. They want, with them now introducing the multiverse, they want
Make
Sony
Sam
to produce
Raimi's Spider-Man 4.
Let Disney keep producing the Tom Holland Spider-Man and let Sony produce Sam Raimi's series with Tobey Maguire. And I'm like, let's do it. I'm up for it.
I'm up for that. I'll look. Here's the thing. I'd be for a Batfleck movie if I knew I was getting Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4.
That's what I'm saying. If we got both, if they said
now you're the left throwing out ultimatums. You're throwing out I'll do this only if you do that.
I'm a centrist. I'm compromising.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what a rational adult does.
Okay.
I don't just get my own way. I come to a decision when wisdom has been graced upon me.
Oh.
See?
Oh. Wow.
See?
Wow.
Okay.
I'm willing to concede.
Deep stuff.
He's saying his microchip has gotten much
No,
larger.
Arrival is still a crappy movie. Arrival still sucks.
Maybe that needs a longer cut.
I guess I'm just more furious because I feel like
I liked Arrival.
If that came out,
I liked Arrival, and I couldn't sit through that.
I don't think so either.
But here's the but kind of like what you just brought up though with the whole WB situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and you're talking about it being all stemming from WB. No, I just think this proves that DC fans are just like UK fans. They're unruly, and they act out in rage and violence.
Where did that come from?
Hey, make sure to put it on that camera right now.
I'm just because I've seen all types of sports fans do the same thing.
I'm kidding. Cheap shot. It was a cheap shot.
Hey, this room is red and black.
And I am a U of L alum.
Sorry.
I know you are.
And you're in a red and black shirt.
That's why. Well, it's not U of L. It's mostly black with a little bit of red trim.
I pissed off a lot of people.
But yeah,
you did.
I know you graduated from U of L. That's why you have the microchip.
Oh.
Well, I didn't get my acceptance letter as part of the 500,000.
Here's the thing.
That's all I'm to say about that.
I'm not saying you shouldn't have a college education because I think that is the right choice, but it's not the only choice.
Knowledge does not equal wisdom.
You're correct.
Okay,
Micro.
And you can go and get a degree, and it could mean jack crap. Okay,
a lot of people do.
Oh no,
we're getting all over the place.
We are.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm bringing this back in because I'll be honest though. I was joking around, but I am partly being true. It's like because you've given them a little bit of a taste of what the fandom can do, they now go hog wild and want all of this stuff. And I'm like, guys, at the end of the day, and I do.
You need somebody to come in, slap the crap out of somebody, and say, "Sit down and shut
up and enjoy." Yes, and I'm sorry, but look, I'm all for fans getting their way, but the way you do it is by voting with your dollar. And we saw this how petty it was with the whole Godzilla versus Kong coming out, and they went, hey, we're bringing it full circle.
Great point. Yeah.
You go ahead. I was just
no, but it's like we saw this with Godzilla v Kong.
Yeah,
it was like people were wanting to boycott it just because they wanted to prove that, hey, we want you to listen to us and bring this the Zack Snyderverse. And I'm just like, okay, stop being little piss ants and little whiny children. It's like sometimes you don't know what you want till you get it.
Right. I seriously do want the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad because that movie's so bad. I just want to see what he.
Yeah,
thinks.
I just want to see
what he thinks is better.
Yeah.
It's like
how much worse can it get?
Yeah.
Yeah.
if there's any more scenes with Croc, it can't get bad.
We have all admitted that Zack Snyder's Justice League was better than the original.
No doubt.
It's not good, but it was better. I mean, I liked it
Yeah.
more than you guys did, but I can still admit it wasn't good. But it is better than what we got. So I will fully admit if David Ayer has his own cut and it is
We'll see.
better, we
The
will
thing that
fully
scares
admit
me,
that.
though, is he says his cut has way more of Jared Leto's Joker. And I'm like, well, I don't know that that's going to make it better.
That's
but
definitely not a
if
good
you
thing.
think that's what's
Yeah.
going to make it better, let's go for it.
Yeah, not to mention that I'm just like, I don't have enough time in the day. I already have so much crap on my
Yeah.
plate
Well, you
of
don't
what I
have
want
to
watch.
watch it. Let
I
the people who want to watch
I
it watch
do
it.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you all out there.
Yeah.
I do it for you, and I want the people to know. Shut up. I don't.
Toxic
I don't,
fandom.
I don't want to. Yes, toxic fandom.
Toxic
That is
Oh.
such a great name for it. Hashtag toxic fandom. It's got to stop, guys.
Hashtag shut up.
Alrighty, guys. I think that's gonna do it for our headlines this week.
I hope so.
Yeah, we went all over
Where
the
are we
place.
going now?
But, well, we're gonna go
We
to
don't know.
multimedia.
Okay.
So I guess we should let's just roll the footage and see where the night takes us.
Multimedia.
Multimedia.
So that PlayStation's got a new update.
I was actually getting ready to mention that. But
No, it's funny because
there we go.
we
Upgrade.
we had a topic for tonight, but we've decided to push it back.
We're going to postpone it.
Hey, you guys don't do that
No,
on my
no,
account.
it's not about you.
Okay.
It's actually not.
It's
Okay.
on. It's
Brandon
on the,
failed too.
I failed. I didn't watch the last episode that just released from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
and that's the major one that everybody's talking about.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
And
I
I
don't
don't know
wanna
the
hear about
spoiler
it.
yet,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't want to know it. But we've now postponed since there's only 6
I mean, I can
episodes.
spoil it. If you get on the movie talk group we're a part of, they have already spoiled it.
Yeah, I'm
so-
not going to do it then.
Yeah, no. But here's the
'Cause
thing.
I actually
so
like this one.
there's 6 episodes total,
Mhm.
and we thought it better to just wait till the next multimedia segment, which it'll only be like 2
And
weeks.
cover all of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
and we'll just cover the whole show. So
okay.
we're going to talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier and our thoughts, just like we did WandaVision, on our next multimedia subject or
This one,
Right,
we're going to
right.
talk about whatever multimedia things we could think of, like the PlayStation update.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're-
and anything
we're,
else
uh,
that comes to mind.
We're ad-libbing this one. This is
and I want people to know I did prepare. We got a lower third.
this is our
Right, yeah. This
I
is
mean,
gonna be it.
look, unique weekly segment. It was Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
It'll
so
be our
far.
first improvised weekly
But-
segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
A PlayStation update. You can move.
You can now save PlayStation 5 games on an external storage
The
device.
thing is this probably.
but you can't play it off of that device,
Well,
which I think is
because-
asinine.
the USB drive is not. It's not like the SSD inside.
No,
That's
but
special.
yeah.
I know.
But what's the difference? Can you play a PS4 game off of it?
Well, here's what. First off, this topic does matter.
It does
because
matter.
the amount of people that
Because
have
Sony's
a PS5
PS
are watching the show.
That's
Nobody
true.
has one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're, so it's like
Just, I mean, a lot of people got them. It's their best-selling. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
It's
on track
true.
to be their best-selling console.
That's true.
But in
That's like hundreds of millions.
The
even
PS2 is
Series
still the
X
highest,
though.
well,
Well, yeah, it has been for years. But
Yeah.
But
PS4 was
PS5's
right behind
on,
PS2.
But it's on course to beat them both.
But,
Yeah.
Well, but it always is like that early on.
We'll
but
see.
Here's the thing: PS4 was
I
stronger
just wanna
than
know,
the PS2 sales, and it.
Why
Bottomed out.
PS4 and now PS5 release with less features than the damn PS3? It just aggravates me.
And they do it every time.
I know.
But here's the thing: I think Series X is also neck and neck with the PS5
Yeah, nobody
right
cares.
now.
but I know it is.
You say that, but it's like sales numbers don't lie.
yeah.
And if they're neck and neck, it's
Well,
like
now they're talking about
and they got
bringing
Bethesda.
and now they're talking about bringing Xbox Game Pass to Nintendo Switch, and if that ends up being true,
And
that's a
PS5 already
huge-
lost MLB The Show. It's now no longer a PlayStation
That's
exclusive.
probably because
it's
they were
on.
racist.
No, it's on Xbox Game Pass.
Are they selling that game in Georgia?
Fair point.
It's like GameStop's not going to sell that in Georgia.
We didn't even bring up the whole emancipation
Actually, it's
Will Smith
funny
film being
because
pulled
ML
from Georgia.
that game has
guaranteed $15 million loss.
What's funny though is that game, even on Xbox, has the PlayStation logo because it's made by PlayStation.
Well, yeah,
Studios,
but that's the thing is it's like that. I think
your
it just
Xbox games
proves
has the
that
PlayStation logo
you
on
don't
it.
have to have like PlayStation Studios can develop for anybody.
The PS5 was the fastest selling console in U.S. history,
Yeah.
not the most. I apologize.
It sold
the
faster than
fastest.
anything,
Well,
even than the Flash.
I'm trying to figure out
Ezra
how many
Miller.
there are. but
It's the Ezra Miller.
They
of
probably
game
don't have their
consoles.
they sometimes they don't stick their sales numbers out until like the competition does just to be that
6 million units
so far sold.
in March of no,
No,
I'm
6
sorry.
million in March.
No, I'm sorry, that's March of 2020.
Yeah.
Oh
Let
wow.
me see.
What?
I got to find something updated.
It wasn't even
here.
out.
That's what I'm saying. The article says as of March 2020.
It's one of them fake news articles.
Fake freaking news.
But no, it's a first major release for the PS5. A lot of people don't care. It's good that they're coming out with these things, but even the media player and stuff doesn't get updated.
Yeah, that's
It's
what I'm
mostly
saying.
the social
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
that's been pissing us off for months.
It's like
but even still,
you could have this stuff ready to go at launch.
there is I think
You
a
just don't
bigger
because you hate
story.
us.
Yeah, it's
Other
6 million as of March this year.
That's not bad.
All the other articles got it right. These people are
I
stupid.
think the big story is how, I mean, Sony is very focused on still creating this console ecosystem, but I think it is kind of a big story that Xbox and even Nintendo are now kind of willing to just play ball and say, you know what, it doesn't matter what console you buy because we're just going to start because.
Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, it's like,
And again, it's only a rumor, but there is confirmation Nintendo and Microsoft have been in negotiations on something, and everybody's assuming that something is Game Pass on Switch, which would be huge.
damn, that would be, and it's
Yeah.
Xbox Game Pass on Switch.
On Switch, where you could play Xbox
Play 'em on
games
that
on your
device.
Switch.
Damn,
You
that
can't,
is-
just if you have a Game Pass subscription.
but that's a power
They're
play.
they're kind of wanting like that's what Microsoft wants is that Xbox to just be this now like subscription service that no matter what device you own you can
Damn.
play.
because
it
I mean,
on.
you can already play it on your phone.
I can
or
play Game
anything
Pass
else.
on my iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I knew they were hard at that because it's funny because the whole Epic and Apple controversy that's going on because you're not buying the subscription
Yeah.
through the app. You're just playing. It's like a mirror.
Yeah.
And you're just logging into your account and playing it.
Yeah.
But it is, I mean, that's the thing. I think Xbox has had to pivot anyway. And I think this has been the problem
Well, they
with
knew the
PlayStation for a
console
while
wasn't
now
their
is
bread and
because
butter, yeah.
we've always talked about PlayStation exclusives and how important they are to the library and the life of the console. But at the same time, it has been one of these things where it's like I think about right now, they also have the worst performance in terms of backwards compatibility. They were the best when PS2 came out, and then
When the
PS3
original
originally
PS3
came
yeah,
out. It was
They
like
could play everything.
exactly. It was like holy crap, they're carrying on their legacy of support, and then they get to the PS4,
So you can't play.
and it's like, oh, you got your
after
HD collections, and
the
you've got
second
the
PS3
store.
actually stopped backwards compatibility.
Yeah,
the
all
second
together,
edition,
right.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make it thinner
But it's funny because
Slim.
and cheaper.
you now have PlayStation 3 era games that weren't HD upgraded that aren't on the PS4 or PlayStation Store. The PlayStation Store shuts down on that device
Yes.
in the middle of the summer.
Sony's
There's a
no
lot
longer
of
supporting PS3 or the
PSP
Vita.
or Vita.
Yeah,
They're
and
all
it's-
the stores on those
And
devices
it's like
are
what
shutting
happens
down.
to all those games that I own that I want to be able to still play
Well, you can still play
the
those.
disc, the
yeah.
hard copy,
Yeah.
but not anything.
No, you
that,
can play anything you bought on the store
as long
but
as I
you-
download it.
Exactly.
Now they're saying they're not. If you don't have it on your hard drive, they're saying they're not sure you'll even be able to download it in the future.
Well, if the
that's-
store is gone, then you can't download
Yeah,
it.
there's no way
so
to
it's
access
like even
it.
though I own one of the God of Wars digitally, if I don't go ahead and save that to which that's available on the newer systems as HD remakes, but I'm
Yeah.
just using it as an example. If I didn't go ahead and download that to my PS3 to ensure I always have it,
Yep.
it's gone.
Well,
Wow.
and what their solution to it is PS Now.
Now.
Yeah.
And I actually just got
Which is
I
not-
had it for about a couple months because I had a nostalgia trip and wanted to
Mm-hmm.
play a couple old PS3 games that I couldn't get on the PS4 or PS5. So I played it and I had subscribed for about 3 or 4 months. I stopped because I got my nostalgia kick. They sent me an email and were like, "Hey, can you fill out the survey about your experience?" And I straight up told them, like, I was just blunt and honest. I didn't hate the service, but I was like, it's 720p. It's not even high definition. It takes forever to load a game. If you are in the game and don't make any sudden movements in 30 seconds, it disconnects from the game. So you have to constantly be playing the game.
Yeah,
You
it's
can't like
garbage.
get up and go pee or go to the bathroom
Right.
or it'll kick you out. And then it's like, even then I had multiple times where in the same game it would freeze or stutter and it would just lose connection.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I would be kicked out and then I would lose my save progress because a lot of the games back then didn't have automatic save
Auto
or the auto save or quick save was way back from just every instance. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, this is pretty shitty.
Yeah.
Like, it's a pretty bad experience. If you can offer me a subscription service like Xbox Game Pass where I can download the game and have it on my console. And then they do offer that for some titles, but not every title.
But they have to update those titles, and they're not willing because they're
well, and they don't. And then what they're going to argue is, well, we can't let you download the game because that infrastructure isn't like. And I get it. That was your problem because that was the cell processor on the PS3. But there's games like Metal Gear Solid 4 that I absolutely love and would love to play the whole trilogy. Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, which I could play through PS Now, through the HD collection, were perfect. But it's like, I don't want to lug around a PS2 or a PS3.
Yeah.
You know, just because I got to keep that system.
I have to keep my PS3 to play Metal Gear because that's why I have kept my PS3s because it's like, well, if I get rid of it, I can no longer replay the older Metal Gear games.
Yeah. And it's like, and even if you do PS Now for like MGS4,
it's garbage.
I don't want to sit here and see 720p graphics.
Yeah.
It's just like, it makes
it's like
it even
the most
worse.
beautiful game on the PS3.
Yes.
And
And it's like, why in the hell would you reduce the quality to that? Like, to me, that's the problem is I was like, way back when this Gaikai transition happened and they bought them, streaming was a new thing. And I was like, oh, they bought them for like $700 million. I was like, this is a power move.
Done anything with
but they
it.
haven't. They released the PS Now subscription. They toyed around with different tiers. They finally released like a $9.99 a month, all you can play whenever you want. But then again, the experience is half baked.
Yep.
It's not nearly as I think pristine as Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass not only has better original or better titles and new release titles immediately available, but then you can play them on your Xbox or your PC or
your tablet.
Soon to be the Switch.
Maybe the Switch.
I didn't
It's
realize
just
that you
crazy.
can get Game Pass without owning an Xbox.
Yep, it's just a $15 subscription fee every month.
As long as the platform itself supports the game.
Yes.
Like I can't play Halo Master Chief Collection on my MacBook through the game. I think maybe through the Game Pass app, but I actually bought it through Steam, and I can't play it on there.
You have to have,
because it's a PC game, so it won't play unless I have
if
Windows
you have
on
a
my Mac.
Game Pass subscription, which that game's on, like you can I think play it that.
And
way.
I think but I think Game Pass is also, it gives you the option to either stream it
Yeah.
or download
it. Yeah.
And if you download it, it's like you're just playing the game on your console.
Now, I don't know if you can download it on I think you have to stream it maybe on the iPad, something
right.
like that.
Like those are just mirror
but like
devices.
with Xbox, if you have Game Pass on Xbox, you don't have to stream it. You can download the whole game, whether it's an Xbox game, an Xbox 360 game, Xbox One game.
Right.
You download the whole thing. It's saved to your console as long as you have.
But
the subscription.
I could have that subscription and play those games on my laptop. Though,
Yeah.
'cause it's a PC.
100%.
Yep, that's what they do now. Yep.
And
You don't
it's
have
kind of
to-
like they're competing, I think, with like a Steam-like service, except it's just
but
exclusive
I mean,
Xbox
realistically,
games.
though, if that works and it works good, from what I've seen, like on reviews and stuff online on YouTube, I've seen it done on the Xbox. I've never seen it done on other devices or whatever. But I mean, no, Google Stadia is a failure.
Yes.
Amazon's Luna is going to be a failure.
Yep.
All of these cloud gaming things none of them work the way that they advertise. No one has been able to stream Google Stadia in 4K without a fiber connection.
Yeah.
And they've got to be close to the data center. They're not. You
And
can't
I don't
do that
know.
from across the country.
I don't know the quality
None
Game
of that
Pass is at streaming because I've never streamed it myself.
Right. Okay.
Well, and I also think too, it does come down to Stadia is kind of pushed like. It's so nuanced in terms of how to do it. I just don't think people are as interested. It's like you're either a console or a PC gamer, and if you're a PC gamer, you're sticking with Steam.
Yeah.
And if you're a console gamer, you have your PS5 or your
right.
Xbox. But it's like, I think, like Keith's saying, I think Xbox and Microsoft are trying to bridge this gap of here's all of these great, amazing games that are offered in Game Pass. Because that's the thing. They either add, sometimes I do think they take away certain ones. But but I know like all of their first-party studio games are available.
Halo, Gears of War, and now Bethesda will pretty much always be available because Microsoft owns them. Now they do rotate other games in and out, but their first, like as long as I've owned it, Halo and Gears of War have always been on there, all of them.
That'd be sick if Sony and Microsoft struck a deal to where there was a
Yeah.
Game Pass
Well,
app.
and that's what kind of
because the
pisses
PS5
me off.
and the Xbox have the same hardware.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing, and this is what's because they're basically PCs.
They
now.
are, yeah.
And what pissed me off was you had this argument back. I think it was even the PS3 era where there was this whole discussion of why can't they, and Microsoft was on board. They wanted to create the technology to have servers where you could do cross-play with
They've still
online
been on board.
games.
Because some
And
games
yes.
you can now do cross-play, but
It's
more
only
difficult.
like third party.
Yes, it's third party because while Microsoft has said they're still on board to allow that, Sony hasn't wanted,
it's like
wanted to do it.
they're keeping it shut, and it's
Yeah.
like this closed platform. And again, it's sad because we were kind of hoping. You saw the failure of the. I mean, the PS3 was successful, but you saw when they came out of the gate, they were the 1,000-pound gorilla, being like, "We're the big man on campus. We can do whatever we want." They got knocked down.
They ended
the
up
peg.
being the most successful in the end, but they also continued. Like
They had to innovate. They had to change their game
but
plan
Microsoft
and answer to
also,
Microsoft.
They also discontinued the 360 several years before Sony finally discontinued the PS3.
But
so-
it was because it was still selling. And
Yeah.
most of the people who were buying it were just like the PS2. It was like, hey, it's a Blu-ray player.
yeah.
Yep.
And it's like, it was a cheap Blu-ray player. They knocked it down to
Well,
$300.
by the time the
it
Slim
was
came out,
competitive.
yeah. Yep.
And I'm like, when they had games also by the end of the life that were worth getting a PS3 for, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll buy it for this. But again, your first party studios, it's like, yeah, I'm still a PS5 fanboy for that reason.
Oh yeah.
But and I think we're still far. Obviously, the freaking thing just came out.
I'm not down
In the
crying
fall.
Sony.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm mad at Sony. Obviously, I mean, there's a reason I got a
I just
PS5
don't-
instead of an Xbox.
I just
Series
feel like
X.
there's this hint and this air of them getting back to that, like, oh, look how great we were with the PS4 and how awesome it was, and yet it's like, yeah, you were able to get away with the gamer-centric message, so people kind of forgot about the media player stuff. But it's still at the end of its life cycle.
In
it
this
was
day
like,
and age,
why
if
did
your
you
console can't play a
Well,
movie on my
it's-
thumb drive, then
Yeah.
It's
but I
pretty
mean,
sad.
they've kind of they didn't do that with the PS3. The PS3 came out with it did everything. You could
Right.
install. I had Linux on mine.
Yes.
I mean, you could install Linux
And that's
on
what
the
makes me
freaking
mad
thing.
is like
But again, with the PS4, it came out bare bones, and
Yep.
over the course of its life, they updated, added. They added a lot of features to it that made gamers happy.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what they're gonna do. That's their game plan. We'll release the console. It's gonna come. It's gonna play games, and that's
Well,
the
yeah.
only damn thing it's gonna do.
I agree.
But
I just
in the
hate
next
that game
in the
plan.
next 2 years, it'll do all kinds of new stuff.
Yeah.
I think they're
And then
gonna
by the
release
time
these
the
updates.
PS6 comes out, it'll do everything that you
Well,
wanted
the
your
PS5 Pro.
That's what, well,
Yeah,
but that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
exactly.
But I'm just
Slim.
saying, like, it's like by the end of its life cycle is when the console finally does everything you wanted to
Yes.
do, and I'm like, okay,
It does. That
that's
does
annoying.
suck. But I
Yeah.
mean, I do see the light kind of at the end of the tunnel once they start releasing some of these updates.
I know
think
it just
things will get
aggravates
better.
me because
Yeah,
I mean,
I
just
used-
this update alone, the social aspect of it is. I mean, we were talking when playing Warzone.
Warzone has
It's just like
terrible-
the freaking party chat
Yes.
and how to do all this stuff. It sounds like they fixed some of that
I
stuff.
would hope. Yeah.
I hope
So
'cause
I'm
it's
hoping to
That's
try
the thing.
that.
I'm hoping
But
that's fixed, but I don't know
just-
until
Yeah.
I get
What
the
aggravates
update.
me is because it's like
Tomorrow?
you had
Yeah.
a great setup with PS3 and PS4, and then like you come out with PS5, and it's like these are things that shouldn't be a problem at
Yeah.
launch
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
you already
again,
perfected them in
you
your
want-
last.
I was gonna
systems.
say you want to see them learn from their past mistakes, and it's like they get some things nailed so right, and then there's other things where they just completely were off the.
And I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
like the
sure
whole
the Series
cards
X has
thing,
tons of problems
I
too.
think
I
is
just don't own
useless.
one, so I don't know.
and I'm
Yeah,
upset
yeah.
about the whole like we hear about this SSD
Yeah.
expansion coming in the summer.
summer.
There's still no word on it, and I'm like, Xbox Series X dropped the day of. Yeah, they're
You just
ridiculously
plug
priced,
a hard
but
drive in and
it's-
go. Yeah.
they're there for expansion if you want it. It's
Yep.
like it's asinine. It's
It
like
is.
fine if I understand the whole still can't play them on your USB, but it's better than downloading. It's a compromise. It's kind of half baked, but
It's like now I
I'm
gotta
willing-
swap them back and
I
forth.
have a freaking like 2 or 3 terabyte USB.
True, yeah.
Where does that?
or I'll just
I
have.
haven't seen one of
Here's my
those.
256 gig. Oh, this is my
Yeah.
Warzone USB.
That's gonna hold one.
Oh,
game.
this is my freaking.
They do make like a 1 terabyte
Black Ops
USB,
USB.
but
yeah,
that's about
but
it.
I mean, I'm being honest. I've never seen one of those in a store. Where can you
I've
buy
seen
the-
1 terabyte.
a 1
just
terabyte
one
USB
Yeah,
drive?
Yeah.
same. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you can buy them on Amazon. They're
Yeah.
not that.
But
expensive
now
on, but-
not much higher.
I'm
but yeah.
behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
very
but
behind.
But
because
even
nobody
still, 1
uses
terabyte's
USB
not going to give but you like 5 games.
Well, nobody
Oh,
uses
yeah.
USB
Yeah.
anymore. It's like
Yeah, oh, I know.
everything's in the cloud,
know.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
look, I don't care. It's one of those situations where I'm like, I wish this news would have come at the same time that they were like, oh yeah, by the way, they're expensive, but they're dropping, next week. Here's the new SSDs.
Yeah.
That would have been great news too.
Yeah.
And it's always like
Well,
PlayStation.
theoretically, they think the SSDs that'll work already exist,
Right.
and they're the same price point as
They
Microsoft's.
just don't want
They
to allow
just don't
support
wanna
until they have a
they don't
PlayStation
wanna-
branded one.
Right, exactly.
A Sony branded one that they can say no, this is
You need
the-
this
yeah.
one.
just like their freaking 8 MB memory cards from back in the day that
Oh,
were
yeah.
$40.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. All right. Done with
We've
that.
prattled on.
And we made a multimedia segment out of that.
That was true multimedia.
That
right?
really
was.
was.
That
That was good.
And most people are probably like, what the hell are these movie guys talking about gaming for?
Yeah.
Because we're nerds.
Yep.
We love games, and we
Yeah,
love
we
you.
gotta switch it up every now and then. We've the last like 4 or 5 4.
Yeah.
The last few multimedias have been about series, so it was nice to talk about something a little different.
It sure was.
You can't always talk about movies.
It's not movies. We talk about that all the time. It's like what we're here for. And if you want to like add your 2 cents, like all our socials right there at the bottom of the screen, man.
Which ones?
Red
Twitter?
Moon Book, Red Moon Tweet, Red Moon Pics, and Red Moon Productions from YouTube.
Red Moon Book.
Book. Movies and
Red Moon
books.
Tweet.
That's right. All our socials down there. Like, share, subscribe. Please send it out to the masses. Click that bell icon for notifications of when we go live every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. because we want to bring you fresh, entertaining content like when we wax our nose hairs. It's coming.
It's coming.
It's going to happen. We're going to do
We're
it.
letting them get longer.
We're just, it's going to hurt even worse. It's going to be even worse. All right, guys. That's going to do it for this episode. But as always, you can email us too at redmoonproductions.com. Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, you can go to our website and it's on there. But rmpodcast at redmoonproductions.com.
It's RM Podcast at redmoonproductions.com.
That was beautiful.
That's how you do it.
That was just gorgeous. Until next time, guys, I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
Dagnoggle Dune Babies Pop Dropping Sphincter Gerbils.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.